All right, so I'm gonna work through the Chapter 8 practice test for those of you who are doing it tonight and have questions. So let's look at problem number 1. Problem number 1, solve for all missing values in the following triangles, round to the nearest hundredth, okay? Remember, if we're given a right triangle, we can use right triangle trig to find anything in that right triangle. So PQ, okay, PQ, 19 degrees where I was given. This is my opposite, hypotenuse, adjacent. Okay, so line PQ is my opposite side. I'm given my hypotenuse, so I want to use sine of 19. Sine of 19 equals O over 11. Okay, so then I get 11 sine 19 equals PQ, which equals 3.581, so we're going to round that to 3.58. Okay. Let's do QR. QR is my adjacent side, so that's cosine 19 equals my adjacent over 11. All right. So then my cosine is 11, or my 11 cosine of 19 degrees equals A, which is 10.4007, so it's going to come out to 10.4. All right, now I need to do angle P. Easiest way to do angle P is to go 180 minus 90 minus 19, or 90 minus 19. And boom, we're done with problem 1. Okay, so let's move on to problem number 2. So that was 71 degrees. There's all your answers for you to look at. 3.58, 10.4, and 71. Let's move on to number 2, okay? It gave me my hypotenuse, again, and we're finding my other two, okay? So if I want to find EF, that's my opposite, and DF is my adjacent. So we're finding my adjacent first, so cosine of 12 equals adjacent over hypotenuse, so adjacent over h, which h equals 12, of course. So I'm going to get 12 cosine, or adjacent is 83.1, I'm sorry. 83.1 cosine of 12 equals my adjacent side, 83 cosine 12. I enter, and it comes out to 81.186, so that's going to round up to 81.19. Okay? Sorry, made some errors talking, writing that one down. So let's look at EF. That is my opposite and my hypotenuse, so we're going sine of 12 equals my opposite, which is FE, so O over my H, which is 83.1. So then 83.1 sine of 12 equals O. Okay, so look at those ratios and how I did them. 83.1 times sine of 12. And we get 17.277, which we're going to round up to 17.278. Or 17.28. Boom. There's two down. Again, the easiest way to find angle F is to do 90 minus angle F. 90 minus 12. Or 90 minus angle D, which is going to be 78. Sweet. All right, we're on to number 3, which is root 5 and root 2. Okay. We're in a Pythagorean theorem this, of course, because we have two sides. So we're going to find my third side. So we're going to go root 5 squared plus root 2 squared equals x squared. Which, of course, that comes out to 5 plus 2. So 7 equals x squared. Boom. Take the square root of both sides, and you get the square root of 7 equals x. All right. Then we're going to look at angle D, okay? We want to use the two sides that it gave us, okay? So when we look at angle D, coming from here, This is my opposite, that is my adjacent. So I'm going tangent of D equals my opposite root 2 over root 5. Then I just take the inverse of root 2 over root 5 to find out what degree that is. Okay, so I'm going to do that on my calculator. Alright, second root 2 divided by second root 5. Tangent inverse it. And we get 32.311 degrees, so that's going to round out to 32.31. Alright, and angle F, now we're going to come and look at angle F. Angle F's opposite side is the root 5. So that's my new O. Cross out these old marks. And that's my new adjacent. Okay? So I still have an opposite side and adjacent, so I'm still using tangent of, it's going to be root 5 over root 2 this time though. And I'm going to take the tangent inverse of root 5 over root 2. And that's going to equal my answer. And let's see, root 5 divided by root 2, and inverse that number. And we get out to 57.688, so that's going to round up to 57.69. 32.31 plus 57.69 equals 90 degrees on the dot. So that's how we know that we were pretty close, or that we were giving correct answers, because these two have to add up to 90 in a right triangle. Jump up over to number 4. Okay, number 4 is a bit of a harder problem. What it gave you was side, side, side. All right, and as you guys know, if a triangle gives you side, side, side with no right angles, we're going to use the law of cosines to find my angles. All right, now this one is a little bit longer, so I'm going to actually write out all this stuff, and then I'm going to tell you what it is on the calculator after I write them all out. So I'm going to write out the equation, and then I'm going to do the algebra. So if I look at angle R first, I'll write out angle R first, okay? If this is angle R is my C, right? So at the end of my equation is cosine of R. Then in front of that, we're talking, and then what it's equal to is the 9 squared, because that is the side opposite of R, correct? So then my 4 squared plus 7 squared, because that's my A squared plus B squared, and we're using the law of cosines, minus 2 times 4 times 7, right? That's my setup for that one. My setup for S now is going to change which side's my little c squared. So for S, we're going 7 squared equals 9 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 4 times 7 times the cosine of S. And T, when we're solving for angle T, switches up again, which my little c is. So now 4 squared equals 9 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 9 times 7 cosine T. Those are the setups for how to find all those, okay? I'm not going to work out all the algebra for all those because we know how to do algebra, right? And we're going to do some law of cosine stuff on the back that I want to get to. So if you guys want, I can, well, I'll type out the answers here in a minute, and I'll look up the answers and tell you what I get. Here on the second video, I'll start out with what those answers are. Okay, but there's the setup with the equations for them. Remember, the angle we're finding is the angle we're finding, or the angle we're given when we're using the law of cosines, is big C. And it's always on the other side of the equal sign is our little c, the side opposite of it. Let's go ahead and jump down to number 5. Okay, number 5 gave me angle side side, or side side angle, since we don't curse. Okay, that's the law of sines, right? Law of sines is side or angle. I'm sorry, this is angle side. I'm looking at it through my phone. Angle side. Okay. The other way we use law of sines is side, side, angle. Okay, so it gave us angle, angle, side. So then we just need to set up a proportion. Remember, we can draw our helicopter. There's one. And I have to be able to find the missing value right there. Okay, so I'm going to call that x. It's EF. X equals EF, right? So let's go ahead and set up our law of sines, which says that the sine of 55 degrees over 11.7. So if I go back to my picture, the sine of 55 degrees over its opposite side should equal the sine of 47 degrees over its opposite side. Over its opposite, which was x. Then we're going to cross multiply and divide, and you get sine 55, or x equals sine of 47 times 11.7 all over sine of 55. All right. And then, so sine is what we want to do on the calculator. So I'm going to go sine of 47 times 11.7 divided by sine of 55. And then hit enter on my calculator. My calculator came out to 10.44. Which does make sense, because if I look at how close these degrees are, this degree is a little bit bigger than that one, so then my answer, my side length should be a little bit bigger when we're talking about in reference to the 55 degree, right? DF you have to do after you find angle E. Angle E is 180 minus 47 minus 55. So angle E is 78. All right, and then you just set up your proportion again. So the sine of 78 over side DF equals, and I want to use the one it gave me, which is the sine of 55 over 11.7. Okay, then I'm going to cross multiply and divide by the sine of 55. So I'm going to get DF equals the sine of 78 times 11.7 all over sine 55. Type that into my calculator. 55 times 11.8 times, or 11.7, I'm sorry, 11.7. Sine of 78 times 11.7 divided by the sine of 55. Hit enter. I get 13.97 for side DF. All right, there's going to be a second video with how to do the second page, and I'll have these answers done for you.